Welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I'm going to be showing you a quick way to get rain set up where this particle, emitter will sort of follow around the player. And when we go indoors, all the particles stop. So let's get into it. So now we're in Godot. I'm going to add some stuff and make it look like we actually have a project going here. And mainly I'm just talking about a floor. We're going to have some sort of indoor area and I'm about to set up a player controller. So I'm going to assume you've got all of those things. Player controller is almost done. Let's go to script. Reparent this. No, not reparent it. What's the one? Save branches scene. And when you create your player, remember on the character body 3D, you can hit this little button, go template, and then we can get a basic movement template when we create our script. Quickly reparent this one. No, node 3D. Bam. Call this one head. Remember, having a head point is really important because for the camera, if we're going to shake the camera around, we're going to do the camera directly. And if you're already using it for movement or looking around, then you can't add a shake to it. Always add a head or a neck or whatever rig. Alright, this is working good. We're walking around with the arrow keys, which sucks. We're going to change that. Quickly in the input map, move, and then up, down, left, right. And then we can add these in. W, S, A, and D for the input map. Boom. And now if we run it, we should be able to walk around with the note. Got to change these here to and bam, and then now that should work. Now the code for this video is going to be up on Patreon, or you can just pause the video and copy paste it basically. So now that we have a character, I'm going to add the environment and the sunlight. Reparent this to a new node and we'll call that one environment. This one here, just to group it up. Cool. And now we're ready. So when we run this, we can also turn that off so it actually runs. Oh my god, I don't want it embedded. Cool. I want it to actually float, so we do that, if you're ever wondering. Cool, looks good. So now we gotta actually create the rain. So I'm going to add a particle, GPU particles 3D. I'm going to move that up a little bit, change the amount to 8,000. Yeah, 8,000. All of these settings except for pre-process, we're going to make 3 seconds. Drawing is an important one right here. Collision we don't need to worry about just yet, but negative 25, going to negative 50, negative 25, and then we're going to go 50, 50, 50, and that just makes the area in which we can see a lot bigger. So if we're looking down, it's still going to process the particle effects. Basically, if you're not looking at this box, then the particles don't get processed, even if they're outside of that. You need to make damn sure we don't have local coordinates turned on, otherwise the rain is going to move with the player. It's going to look really weird. It needs to be global, even though we actually will be moving this around. So that being said, I'm going to actually make this box a lot bigger. So we're going to make it 100 by 100. Cool, just so it gives us somewhere to walk around. We need to go to the process material. We're going to create a new process material, particle process material. Now we're going to go to spawn, position, and then we're going to change this to a box. Now this box we're going to make 20 by 5 by 20. So this is just where the particles come out of. We don't want it to be like a flat plane. We kind of want it to be a little bit of an area, but we also want this to be above the player. So just to make sure it is above, I'm going to go to the transform. And we're going to make sure that we're 9 meters up. Cool, 9 meters up. Sweet. So the emitter box actually is above the ground. I'm going to go back up to the process material, keep working on this. So then in velocity, we need to make sure this is going to be -1. The Y direction, we're also going to turn down the spread a little bit so it comes down a little bit more regularly, evenly. And then the initial velocity, we're actually going to set to 5 and 5. And then a little bit of magic here, we go to collision, and then we want to change this to hide on contact. And I'll show you how to use that later, but we just do that for now. It's not going to collide with everything. So next thing we're going to do is go to draw passes. I'm going to make this pass 1 a quad mesh. Yeah, there we go. So we can start to see it now. We're going to make this 0.05 by 0.05. And that's if we want them to be like kind of square particles. So you can start to see it come along now. We're actually starting to see these particles in the air, these rain particles. So next we want to go down to the geometry, and then in material overrides, we're going to create a new standard material. So first thing I like to do is usually go down to the metallic, turn the specular all the way off, and then for the albedo we might make it a little bit blue. So we're going to actually see that we're actually affecting this. Yep, So where is it? Blue. And if you want a little bit more control over the particle, we can go to vertex color and then click that as users albedo. And then any changes that we make inside the process material. So let's say, for instance, inside displays, so color curves, hue variation, stuff like that, it's actually going to affect the color. So if you don't have that turned on, then it's not going to affect the color. You're going to basically be bashing your head against the wall trying to figure out why it's not changing color. So you see we've actually got multicolored particles now because we've turned up the hue variation. So we can do things like make it lighter and make it darker over time. We could do this as well, give it a little bit of variance for the scale. So I'm just going to go from 0.4 to 2 maybe, just so we get some big particles, just so we can see what's going on here. Perfect. All right. Now, you notice if we don't look in the right direction, we're not going to see anything. We're going to get to that in a second. So what I like to do with rain as well, you'll find that as we go to like nighttime and stuff like that, the particles just turn black and they also get really bright from one angle. And the easiest way to just stop this is to just make it unshaded. And it's probably not the best thing to do, but also it looks fine, whatever. So we go here to shading and then we can go to unshaded. And then down here in the albedo, change this transparency here. It's not going to do anything, right? But we can go down, scroll down, and then just change the transparency of all of this. So if we want to actually make it, you know, a little bit see-through kind of thing, right? But that's up to you. It's all about the style, what kind of style you want to go for, right? Cast shadow, I usually turn off because it just looks ugly. And I can show you what I mean. No, I can't. All right, the back facing is the way that actually would have, hold on. Okay, yeah, I don't know, just turn it off, or the disappearing rather. We actually need to turn on billboard mode. So we're going to go scroll down to billboard, and then we're going to change that to particle billboard. And now, no matter what angle we're looking at, it's going to stay alive and it's not going to disappear on us. Cool. Next thing I'm going to do is just build like a slight little indoor area. So the way I'm going to do that, I'm just going to grab my CSG box. Actually, first thing we're going to do is go to this metallic and turn the specular down. You see, this is the specular light here, you know, the kind of like shininess on the ground. I think for a lot of like retro stuff especially, you just want to turn that off. Like you don't want to see any of that, right? Because, yeah, I don't know, it wasn't around in older technologies, or it was like faked, right? And that's what I've been doing a lot of lately, like retro stuff. So I'm just going to duplicate this. We're going to create like a nice little dugout, and we're going to make sure that it's outside the boundary of this rain here. Actually, we'll make sure that it's in front of the player so we don't have to turn around. Yeah, that's fine. So we're going to have the dugout here just to drive home the point that the rain is actually going to move with us, which is another requirement of this little tutorial, right? So make the little dugout. There we go. Duplicate that. And perfect. Now we've got an area that shouldn't have any rain come into it. So we're going to fire this up and we're actually going to see what this looks like. Hold on. I'm just going to make it full screen really quickly by going to window, full screen. Now we're going to run that. Cool. So I look up, I can see all of this rain, and then I go under here and it doesn't really count because I'm outside of the operating area, I guess you could call it, of the particles. So we've got to get the particles to move with us now. So there's a few different ways to do it. The easiest way is obviously to just grab your GPU particles and then like attach it to the player. And then when we walk around, it's going to move with us. So wherever we are, and I mean, this is what a lot of games do, you know? So if you have to set up some sort of like respawning system, this is going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass because when you respawn, you're going to need to reset the node that this is connected to, right? So instead of needing to reparent like through the code, the best thing you could probably do is actually make like a little bit of code. So inside your player, you could add a remote transform 3D, and this is only if you need to respawn. Otherwise, like just literally nesting it to your player should work fine. You just don't want to do it inside the player scene, obviously. So this remote transform 3D, we're going to update the position, not necessarily the rotation, no, just the position, right? And what does this say? Okay, now in our player, we're going to add an export variable. Export. We're going to call this particles node. and that's going to be a particle, GPU particles 3D. And then basically on our ready function, all we're going to do is the particles node, no, our remote transform, right? So we get our remote transform as well, and we go if particles node, then remote transform 3D dot remote path equals particles node dot, I think it's get path. Is that how you do it? Yeah, because we've actually got to set this. So if I go here, it's set remote path. So yeah, we're probably better off doing it this way. So set remote path, bam, particles node dot get path. Now, if we've set this up properly, which we have to do a little bit more, we go back into, you see the player is not attached to the particles now. But what we can do is we can go to the player. You see we've got this particles node export variable here, and we can drag that over there. And now we move around, still it's not going to work, right? Because we need to actually start the game up. So if this moves with us, it means that we've coded this properly. So yep, we can walk to the ends of the earth and the rain is going to keep moving with us. So that's all you've got to do every time you respawn. You've basically just got to, before you instantiate your player, well, after you instantiate your player, you just set that particle node to the rain particles, whether you want to put that in a group or whatnot, right? Yeah, so anyway, those are the two different ways that you can do it. Now the last requirement is to actually make it so when we walk into this little dugout, we don't get the rain inside the dugout as well. You see, like this, it doesn't look realistic, obviously. We need to have some sort of collision there, right? Now, it's actually way easier than you'd think. What we want to do is we want to add a GPU particles collision box 3D. This one here, GPU particles collision box 3D, right? And then we're going to move that over to where the dugout starts. Yep. Yeah, I'm just going to make this the size of the dugout. So we're going to go to the exterior, the outside amount, because, you know, with the way that the GPU particles and stuff work, it might bleed through a little bit. But then there's obviously that setting over in the GPU particles where if it is bleeding through the geometry a little bit, you've got this collision base size that you can mess around with, right? So anyway, we're going to load this up. As we walk over to this dugout, you can see we've got a little bit of reprieve from the rain. And see, this is what I mean by like it's bleeding through a little bit, and that's just got to do with the distance that it travels in one frame, right? So the easiest way to stop that is to just make your roof a little bit bigger, like this. So if I want to have just a bigger roof like that, hold on, here we go. Like that, it's going to fix the problem and it's not going to be an issue anymore. It might still be coming through the walls, depending on the angle and the speed and all of that sort of stuff. Cool, so that looks really good. I think what I might do is make it so it's 80,000 particles, just so we can see a little bit better. And yeah, my computer is, you can tell it's like, it's having a problem right now. I think something about OBS is killing my computer right now. But either way, we go into the dugout and it's all good. So easy peasy, right? If you want to come and join the Discord, I can walk you through the rest of, I don't know, like little rain tips, GPU particle tips, because I'm full of them. We've also got other things like attractors and stuff like that. Here, so attractor, GPU particle attractor box. Now, if we push this over here, I think, I can't really remember how this works, but either way, there's like a bunch of different boxes, right? We can just turn this strength up, and then we can see all of the particles start to whip around this central point. I mean, it's kind of hard to see. I can see that on my screen, but it might be kind of hard to see on yours. So anyway, if you got any use out of this video, you can let me know in the Discord. Come and join the Discord. Just hit subscribe, hit like, all of that good stuff. You can come and follow my Twitch. What's it called? Follow? Yeah, not subscribe. You can subscribe if you really want to my Twitch, where we make game dev stuff every other day. Yeah, thank you again to my Patreons. And again, this code is going to be up on Patreon if you can't be bothered typing this stuff out, or if you just wanted like a quick little player model like I've got. Yeah, I mean, thanks for watching my videos. And speaking of Patreon, we've got the only friend slot game template for Godot out there, so come along and grab it. That's right, and on Patreon for just $5 a month you can download all of my templates, game betas, demos, bunch of different game templates for all kinds of stuff, notes and interactions, basically anything I've made on this channel. Piss bars, baby. And big thanks to my current patrons. Love you guys all so much. Without you guys I wouldn't be able to continue doing this, so thank you very much. You guys have helped me pay my rent, so thank you very much.